So here we are at the second of the Coding with Caroline. And I'm Caroline with Mad Learn. I'm here with, and I think probably most of you that are here were either here last week or know who we are. We've got Alexandra Comernes, who is the Curriculum and Implementation Specialist, and we have Doreen from Hung Ba, who just hopped in. And she's our Marketing Coordinator and Director of Internships. So for those, I'm not sure again who's familiar and who's not, so I'm just going to go through it very briefly. MadLearn is a platform an ed tech platform that allows students to create apps. It takes them through the design thinking process, our six-step design thinking process of ideate, plan, design, build, test, and launch. It's terrific because it's scaffolded. My background is that I'm a middle school computer science teacher. I taught in Palm Beach County in an IT academy for the last 10 years. I did use MadLearn in my classroom. What was really exciting was to be able to use it with my students that were not IT kids, my elective students, because they were able to use it just as IT students can. So we're going to explore the platform a little bit today, and we are going to look at the coding curriculum that we've got now that is set up. We've got level 1 and 2. Level 3 is coming. Today we're on our second one here. So while we're getting started, if you don't have a MadLearn subscription, if your school doesn't already have a subscription, if you would please use the QR code to sign up. It'll take you to a screen where there is a free trial account. It's a 2-week free trial. You can give it a shot and see what you think. If you have any difficulty, Alexandra is going to will be able to help you with that. So, all right. So for level 2, the way this is designed, this curriculum is designed. I made sure to include lots of resources with it. It takes students through from not being able to code at all to, by the time they finish with level 3, they'll be able to use CSS, HTML, and some JavaScript. I'm going to escape out of here for a second and just share the drive. With the coding curriculum, and this can be found on the platform. I'll show you where on the platform it can be found, but there's a start here. The standards are included, all the standards that MadLearn hits, with examples of the activities that they would be using in MadLearn to hit those standards, and it's broken out by grade bands. There's also a kind of a start here with HTML, with learning to code HTML, CSS, and well, really anything. Everybody starts at the same place, so age doesn't make a difference. So if you have a 4th grader that's learning to code, they need to learn the same things as a 10th grader that's learning this curriculum. The difference is that probably the 10th grader is going to absorb the material and move through it quicker than the 4th grader would, but everybody would start at the same place. They would all start at level 1. And that level 1 last week really dealt with structural tags of HTML. Just as a refresher, HTML for a web page creates a structure, and CSS, which we'll be working with a little bit today, creates the style. It allows the HTML, if we could put different content in it, will have the same, it just has blocks of text. It's not very pretty. And CSS is what allows us to move things, style things, emphasize things. Even in some cases with some advanced CSS, we can actually animate things. So the curriculum starts here, and then we looked at the coding level 1 last week. So we'll just take a quick look at coding level 2 this time. Coding level 2 is divided into 2 parts. I separated out the HTML and the CSS for the concepts because I kind of addressed them differently, even though the culminating project for this level, it does combine the 2 languages. They are separate in terms of concept. So the CSS concept, just give you an idea of, you know, basic structure of CSS, and I give you examples. And then if there's any kind of a browser display, I've also shared that here as well. So you can kind of see, actually, let's fix that with a lowercase t. So you can actually see how it works. One of the things I know was when I first started teaching computer science, they were like, here, have this curriculum. And a lot of what's out there is not super kid friendly. So we would need to, I'm not sure what happened here. Let's just say, like, so what I did is try to make everything easy for whoever's teaching it, but then also easier for the students to break it into pieces that hopefully make sense to them. So these are all the topics that are covered as far as CSS and the different examples of them. The same is true for the HTML portion of it. This starts to get more complex and deals with nested tags. So kids have to be more organized when they're dealing with their code. They should be comfortable using spacing and indents and being able to make their code reader friendly, I guess. Because some of the nested codes, nested meaning there's tags inside of other tags, opening and closing inside of other tags, gets a little bit tricky. So we learn about lists, and we also get into tables as a way to organize information in this level with the HTML. Also included are two coding quizzes. I love Google Forms, but I'm not a multiple choice person as much. So there's a couple of multiple choice questions, but a lot of them are set up with short answer, which I personally find much more valuable in terms of assessment. Or when there's multiple things with multiple answers. These resources I'm giving you are customizable, so there are editable links for each of these. So let's say you wanted a coding quiz, but you really just wanted it to be multiple choice. You could take the quiz, it would force a copy of it, and then you could make questions into multiple choice if you want to. Or you could change the answers, or you could change the questions. So that was, one of the things that we talked about with designing curriculum is just as teachers, you want to take things and you want to make them your own. To work well with your kids because you're the expert with your students. So these resources are editable. Also here are in level 2, I've got exemplar code. So this is, there's a rubric also attached to it. If you were not comfortable, one of the things I had a really difficult time with when I first started teaching coding was I was fine until there was an issue. Well, why doesn't this work? And what's going on here? So I tried to make it as easy as I could for the teacher, whether you're a veteran teacher or even somebody that just started. I tried to make it as easy as possible for you to kind of see what should be there. So I've got a rubric as well. So there's a project rubric. Again, this is editable. So if you want to have different components or different, different point values, feel free to force a copy and make a copy and edit it as you'd like. The other thing, the second, just to go here for a second. With this, with the CSS, we get into more of things like font styles, web safe fonts, serif and sans serif fonts, the difference between them. So this is linked within one of the, within the slide deck. It's a resource that's there for you. And then also there's a teacher companion with this too. So as we work through the slide deck, there's activities, there's a lot of debugging. I tried to put as much debugging as I could because that's a great skill. The teacher companion is there to help you. So it's kind of like a pocket, if a student's like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm not sure what's wrong. You know, you can have your phone in your pocket and kind of take a quick glance and, oh, you know, and kind of have an idea where to look. So the level 2 curriculum is here, and I'm just gonna hop through it real quick now that you've seen the other resources. Does anybody have questions so far? I know that I'm kind of speaking quickly, and I know that you know, there's a lot of information, but does anybody, is there anything anybody needs, has questions about? Okay, I'm powering on. All right, so with this, again, we start with the standards, so you know why they're doing what they're doing. And we review the HTML that we discussed in level 1. It's a quick review to start. I tried to make everything as, again, simple as possible. These are hyperlinks, so you could jump right to the page that you were on. So if you ended up one day, you finished on box model but needed to go back to it, you could just click and you would be taken to the box model section. So it talks about CSS and what it is, and a little bit of background about why CSS exists the way it does. For those of you that don't know, HTML was created at CERN, which is the Research Particle Collider Laboratory in Switzerland. And it was specifically designed to link academic documents. So the idea being that if you could share research, that it would make everybody, put everybody in a better place and make everybody more knowledgeable. But one researcher who had worked in publishing said, yeah, no, with this, I need to know what is more important. So with plain HTML, everything just kind of rolls along the same way. CSS allows us to emphasize certain portions of the text, so we can make things stand out, we can draw attention to it, and that was the purpose of developing CSS. It came along later than HTML. So this is what an example of what HTML, I like to give this to the students to be able to see the, you know, how it works. This is HTML. Here's a heading, here's a paragraph with no CSS attached, and then here's the exact same content but with CSS added to it. So just hammering home the idea that HTML creates the structure of the page, right? We've got a heading and a paragraph, where CSS allows us to get, you know, stylish. Oh, we've got rounded corners and a blue background and, you know, some different font styles. So talks about syntax, how to link a style sheet. One of the things with Madlearn where you can make the decision on how you need to teach your students, there are some basic tags in HTML, some structural tags, and like doc type and title and the head of the document, and things like this to link CSS sheets and JavaScripts. They don't have to be done. Those items are linked behind the scenes in Madlearn, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the reason why this is important is because if your students, if you just want them, you're not doing a certification and you don't want them to deal with all the other, you know, the additional links and things like that, you don't have to, because we've done that behind the scenes. If you want them to learn the links and you want them to learn the basic structural tags, then absolutely you can do that, and the app will work exactly the way it's supposed to, but you don't have to. And I'll show you exactly what that means in just a moment. All right. Okay. This just talks about how the style sheet is broken up and the Madlearn exceptions. So we're gonna, I wanted to do something fun. So Alexandra is fantastic at coming up with names. So she named a coding activity that we're gonna do in a moment. But basically the idea is CSS has a selector and a property of value. And we'll see how that goes in just a moment. Out of curiosity, what fact was it that you liked? Alexandra, I'm sorry, I just looked at the chat real quick.
Oh, sorry. Actually I realized after the fact that I put it in there. I was going to say the part about Switzerland and it starting in Switzerland. I did know that from looking at the curriculum, but I forgot about it. So when you said it, I was like, that's so cool. But I don't know. Hearing you say it re-clicked it for me. It's
No,
that's
it's all
pretty
good.
interesting.
It's all good. I was like, wow, I said something cool.
You
Um,
did.
uh, cool. All right. So CSS has rules, which is how we establish what to, how HTML is styled. There are a lot of quick checks included in this. So in this case, like, in the code to the right, which is the selector property and value. And when you click on it, it lets you know which tags are. So that's just something, quick checks that are embedded right in the presentation as you're moving through it. Again, another technique I like is to kind of make the code sound like it's just a normal person talking. So, this is basically, saying to the browser, please style your HTML like this, because I don't like it the other way. A lot of debugging. So with this, it's like, can you find the bugs? And then if you click, it will take you to this slide at the end of the presentation that does have the answers in it. And these are common ones. I saw quite a bit, like background. I can't tell you how many students I saw just spell it without the G. They put background, and this isn't working, it isn't working. So it's things like that. If you click for the answers, if I can click for the answers, I promise it goes. I promise it does. Why is it not going? There is a sheet. This is always good. There's a page though that has the answers on it. Different activities embedded without. So in here, the goal, it gives you a goal, and then it gives you the activity and what it should, hopefully look like at the end. And with the CSS is just kind of, very individualized. So, if you want your students to style everything exactly the same, that's fine. But I mean, they can demonstrate that they understand how the, maybe the color property works without all styling it blue or all styling it red. There's a lot of freedom in being able to style. So challenge questions, RGB colors, and hexadecimal colors. It just talks about how color on a screen is created of light, not pigment. So it's just combinations of red, blue, and green light, and just takes them through how to get to those colors. Yay. And then the RGBs, the same way. And again, these are just fun things to do with, in front of the room to kind of keep them going. Okay, there it is. So in this one, put that out of the way. It just is a challenge question, which if the paragraph was given these three different styles, which would it follow? And the answer is the last one. It would read from top to bottom and then follow that last instruction. So this is really it. There are videos embedded throughout. Again, the activities that, just really take the students through, that help you to be able to explain to them how things work with examples. So this goes through again. There are activities embedded throughout, and I'm just moving through kind of quickly here because I would like to be able to get to the coding couture. So these are just the resources you have. Again, there's an editable copy of this, a link to an editable copy. So if you choose to cover some of it and not other of it, you want to shorten it or you want to change something, then you are more than welcome to do that. And then it finishes up with a table and a culminating project at the end. So it's going to ask, the rubric is available. So the rubric asks them to add images, to change the border radius, to add borders, to use the box model to style. It asks them to include tables and lists. And again, you can change it up. So that is what the level 2 curriculum, the slide deck looks like. Does anyone have questions? Okay, I'm again powering through this. All right, so let me escape out of here for a moment and So Alexandra came up with the name for this, and I love it. So we've got the CSS Code Couture Style Showdown. So, what we're gonna do with this is similar to an activity that let me move this out of the way, that students might do as they're practicing code. So here's my example of the HTML heading again, and it talks about the structure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link to a document in the chat that is only HTML, and I'm going to ask you to copy and paste it into we're going to create a new HCJ builder, and we're going to copy and paste in here. We're going to make our code look stylish. Just to help you along a little bit, if you're not familiar with it, CSS rules are set up like this. So we've got, this is the HTML tag that is going to be styled. So in this case, it's a paragraph, and we're going to make it green. All right. So these, and I'll put this back up in just a minute. These are some rules that we can add. So to do this, it goes selector property value. So our selector would be whatever HTML tag, like say a paragraph. Color would, we have curly braces. Color would be your property, colon, and then your value. So this would be your sample code. So let's exit out of here for a moment. I'll come back to this in just a second. And let me, oh, I just would like to show you the companion app. Okay, so the teacher companion app looks like this. If you'd like to open it on your phone, you could do that. It is designed to, there's a little bit of explanation as far as what goes on. And the links in there will take you back to the coding curriculum on our drive. The level 1 and level 2, so we're working in level 2, so there are solutions to level 2, what it should look like and what the code should look like. So again, to kind of help you out with that. And again, with the final project, same thing. Oh, sorry. With the final project, it's an exemplar project, but you can, just, this is kind of what the students will design at the end. So let's go ahead and we're going to go to build. So if hopefully everybody is logged in, assuming you are, we're going to go to build. And then let me ask you this, does anybody need to create a new app yet? I'll go back out from the, okay. So I'll just go back out. You're going to have a green button on your dashboard that says create app. So you're going to go ahead, click create app. You're just going to give it an app name. You're not going to have, I don't think they have the school option, do they? I think that's just us.
That's just us.
Yeah, okay. And then you're going to hit done, and it's going to create a brand new app for you. Your app is going to that's going to take you into the phases of the design thinking. Let me grab mine. Okay. So when you get into your app, this is probably going to be blank. There's the ideate phase, which is where the student would kind of put their ideas on paper with the AI assist. We've got the plan with the mind map, where they could use this to help organize their thoughts. We're not going to worry about this. We're just going to go to build. But I'm just letting you know that then here's the design portion of MadLearn, where they can design their logo and their background and change the button colors and styles and fonts and button height and all that good stuff. We're going to go to the build tab, and we're going to add a screen and then choose HCJ builder. And I'm just going to call this demo 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to give it a name in order to unlock it. Okay. So on here, there are 3 panels. There's an HTML, a CSS, and a JavaScript. I'm going to drop a link into the chat that if you'd like to, you can copy and paste the code and you'll paste it right into the HTML panel. So let me go ahead and copy link and drop this here. Okay. So once you have it, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to copy, select the code, everything from doc type. Okay, down here to the bottom, copy. And we're going to go to our HCJ builder and we're going to paste it on the HTML tab. So now if we hit run and save, we've got this.
Caroline, can you show that one more time?
Sure. So what we're going to do is go to, we're on the code. We're not going to worry about this up here at the top. We're going to disregard that, but everything from the doc type HTML all the way down to the bottom of the page, we're going to select it and then copy. And then go back to the MadLearn screen and just make sure you're clicked on HTML and then right click and paste. So if this was deleted, I would just right click and paste, and here my code is all in there now. If I hit run and save, everything's back. All right. So again, now we have our structure. We have heading right here. Why learn to code? Why learn to code? Here's a paragraph after that. So any of these tags that are enclosed in angle brackets can be styled. We wouldn't style this. And this is where it gets a bit tricky. If you're teaching a certification, your students will need to know that the title is what creates the tab name at the top of the screen. But they're not going to see that in MadLearn because the way the panels are embedded within our platform. So again, this is if what I'm saying is not making sense as far as the certifications, please disregard. But if you do teach certs, this is something that you would need to have in there, and your students could use these. If you didn't want to do this, I'm just going to go ahead and delete. If we just delete all this, everything will work exactly the same. Nothing changed when I hit run and save. You don't have to have them, but it's a technical piece that can be there if you need it. In fact, I'll go ahead and delete them out. Okay. All right. So what time is it? Okay. Take a minute and let's go back here and let's do this together, I guess. Are you guys comfortable coding on your own? Let's do it together. Okay. So here we are. These are, just go in for a second here. Okay. So these are the items, the properties that we have to choose from. So let's just start with the H1 heading at the top. Let's try changing the font family. Something to notice with CSS is that when you have 2 words, they're just always connected by hyphens. Let's change the color. One of the things that happens very often is kids get frustrated because they think it should be text dash color, and it probably should, but color is just the property that we would use to change the color of the text. So let's go ahead and do that together. So if we go here to MadLearn and we click on our CSS panel, right now what we're going to aim to change is the H1 where it says why learn to code. Okay, so if we go to the CSS and we type in H1, that tells the browser we want to change the H1 tag. We are going to open our angle brackets. We're going to type the word color and then put a colon. Choose any color that you would like. I think Oh, I don't know. I guess I'll just go with blue. That's okay. Enter and close your curly brace. And if I run this, anything that's an H1, which should only be this text at the top, should turn blue. And it does. Let's try changing the font style of a paragraph. So to do this, I've got my paragraph, got open curly braces. So the font style is actually font family. And one of my favorites is Verdana. So I'm going to go ahead and make it Verdana and then close the curly brace underneath it. It's a good practice to get into that. Even if you have one line of code, you put the semicolon at the end of the value, because it just prevents bugs later on down the road. If you went to add another rule to this rule set and you didn't have the semicolon there, it wouldn't work. Okay, so now everything that's a paragraph on my page, everything that's enclosed in a p tag is now Verdana. Okay, but what if I want it to be, let's see, I want the font family, I want it to be Verdana, but I also want it to be, and this is what I was just talking about a second ago, we also want to change the font size. To do that, I'm just going to add a new rule right underneath it. So font dash size. For right now, we're just going to work in pixels. There's a lot of other ways to measure font sizes and margins and borders and things like that. But for right now, we'll work in pixels. So let's say I want to make it 22 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Again, I have the semicolon at the end. Does that help you guys a little bit? All right, that's kind of big. So maybe I'll drop it to 20. Okay. Maybe I want to take this same font family and make the H1 consistently look consistent. So I'm just going to copy that rule, hit enter, and then paste it right in with the other H1 rule. And now my H1 has also changed to Verdana. So we've got the font color, we've got the font family or style, we've got the font size. We can also change the background color. So let's see. Let's see what happens if I type light blue. And it gave me a kind of a light blue. So if you notice, each HTML element is its own box. And if I change the background color on my paragraph, it would be the same. It would just show you a block. So HTML creates blocks and then CSS styles them. Is anybody stuck? Have questions? Need help? Want to know anything else?
You're doing great.
Okay, I just like to stop and ask because I can talk forever. All right, what else can we change here? Let's align our text. How about that? Let's change that. So we'll go over and we will align our text. How about we take our paragraphs and just for the heck of it, or our H1, and we center it. So to do that, anyone who want to give it a shot, text align. And then we're just going to use center. The options are left, right, center, and justify. So we've got center. Sherry's note taker says it's quiet in here. And she's leaving in 1 minute. Oh no. So we can align our text. If we wanted to align it, it automatically by default aligns right. If we wanted to left align it, we could just change that to left, not cleft. I'm sorry, it automatically left, I'm sorry, that was mixed up. It was automatically left aligns. We could change it to right align, make it look a little fun. And then if you've ever wondered how books made get everything in a perfect block so that the content always fits in the block, they use Justify. So we can text align Justify, except we could spell it right. So this looks weird because of the size of the words and everything. I don't like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens if I center it. Oh, and I apologize. I actually can type. Meh. And let's see. Chantal's note taker says the same thing as Sherry's. Is anybody styling along with me? Am I styling by myself?
I did a little bit.
Are you styling,
I did a little
Alexandra?
bit. I did a little bit. Yes. This is
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay. Let's do one more fun one. Let's do text shadow for our H1. And let's do 2 pixels, 2 pixels. 2 pixels might be too much. Here we go. So we've added a text shadow using that. There are
Caroline, if somebody wanted to know where to find the text shadow information so they know where to get it, can you show where they get that again?
Yes. To get any of this, I'll be totally honest with you, there are far more CSS properties and values and far more things that I could ever cover in, just a slide deck. If you go to
of course.
If you go to W3 Schools and you search up CSS, if you look over here, it gives, these are all kinds of things that you can change. So with this, okay, backgrounds, borders, shadows. So if you come here, and you scroll down, it will show you how to do it. So in this case, for the H1, here, if you click on W3 Schools, if you click try it yourself, it'll let you make the changes on your own and you can see it in real time. Like, okay, so what if we wanted to change this to 1 and this to 1? So I just changed it. Maybe we make I'm just saying blue. Because I'm not a creative person. So anything that you need, like if your students are like, well, I want to do this or I want to do that, I'm giving you in here in the curriculum, I'm giving you the basics of just some basic properties and values that you can use, but there are a million more. And like I said, this is a fantastic resource. And this is even where it starts getting into transforms, where it can actually make it look like it's spinning and all kinds of stuff here. Some of this CSS will be in level 3, but there's just way a lot of it. Like the Z index means you can make it actually float in a different layer on the page above other elements that are on the page. So there's a ton of stuff that you can do. Height, width, there's just a ton of stuff here that you can do. And the same thing for the HTML. If your students get stuck on HTML and they're looking for stuff, or if you want to use this as a review for them on how things work, like, lists, they can see, or you can demonstrate firsthand how it works. Like, okay, I want this to be an unordered list. And if I run it now, I have bullets over here. So this is a fantastic resource. And this is actually this is included in the coding curriculum as well. It's free and it's just available to them. And I think
that's what I was going for. It is in the coding curriculum, correct?
Yes, it is. Hold on a second. It's in, I believe it's in the app.
Okay.
It is, no, it is in there. Hang on one second. Let me get out of here for a moment. No, it's in the folder. It is.
Okay.
If I
Can you
just,
show us where in the
yep,
folder?
yep,
Perfect. And I put that link in the chat as well.
no worries. I promise you it's here because I included this and I included,
You're all good. I was actually just looking as well. I thought it might be on the curriculum and concept outline for CSS, but I didn't see it, but I could have missed it. You keep going, I'll search for it.
oh,
But
additional
we've got it in the
resources. So in
chat
the
as well.
start here,
Okay,
W3 Schools is in there. Sorry about
perfect.
that. It took me a bit. But it is in there in the start here. So if you start on level 1, you would get the HTML tutorial. On level 2, it takes you to the CSS tutorials.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. But it is in there, I promise. Alrighty. So that's more or less. Does anybody want to present what they styled? Have to ask.
Or did anybody try something different besides what Caroline showed? I know some people are commuting, some people are paying attention and following
No, I
along, just
know.
watching. So it's totally fine if you weren't able to. We will send out this recording, just so you have this. So everything that Caroline mentioned and showed, you'll have access to be able to find it easily and quickly as well.
Yeah, and included throughout in both of the levels, and it really peppered throughout the curriculum. If you need help, success at mad-learn.com. If you don't, if you're stuck on something, if you have a suggestion, if there's something, and if there's something that you find that that you think could even be, improved, please, love to hear it. Please, please feel free to reach out for anything. We're here for you. Um, so this can be used. So again, this can be used. You can include code in any, in anything that you're doing with your students, but specifically in the coding curriculum. I mean, you could give them a project to build, parameters to build a specific a page with specific items on it. It's really, and some of the stuff that some of the kids will come up with will blow you away. They will start creating things and you'll be like, wow. It's really amazing. And they'll be curious and they'll figure it out on their own. I had a student last year that I promise you, this kid will change the world one day. He was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And I mean, just how his mind worked and how he was able to put code together. He was a student he was in self-contained classes other than mine. Okay, and I think PE was the other one. Brilliant, scary, scary, brilliant. So, you never know who it's gonna hit the right.
Where once students have used MathLearn, they are eligible to apply for our internship. And we take students from grade 7 through 12. It's actually a pretty cool experience. They work on, our team is virtual and global. They get the chance to interact with a very multicultural, diverse team. They're doing real tasks, real work. Our program, I'm actually going to put a link in the chat. We're very flexible. We work with student schedules. It's an awesome opportunity, and it's not something you easily find, I think. So it's definitely worth considering. And also, we have our student showcase coming up on December 11th, I believe. We did this last year. It's our second annual student showcase, and we basically hand the mic over to students and let them facilitate, show off their work. So if you have students that have done something really incredible that they're super proud of, we want to highlight their accomplishments. So we will be sending out more information. It went out in our newsletter. We haven't sent the registration link yet, but it will be coming. So start thinking about kids that might be interested in presenting. We would love to have your students show off their work and what they've accomplished. So that is it. And I
And
put
it
the
doesn't have to
internship
just
link
be
in.
coding work.
Absolutely not.
It can be non-coding. So,
Yes. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you for being here 2 weeks in a row. I know that's a lot, especially when you've had a full day of teaching. So we appreciate you.